Hi guys, welcome back to the Finding Your True Balance Wellness series. Today is the most important day out of the whole series, so definitely please pay attention because you will learn so much about this whole process just from this video. So before we get started looking at setting the plan, we need to ask ourselves a couple of questions. So the first one is, what have you learned so far about balance? What does nutritional balance mean to you, and what did you come up with from the first video on that topic? The second thing is, what steps have you taken so far to achieve that balance, and really how large is that gap that you determined between where you're at with your health status and where you would like to be with your goals. Now we're in the phase of the series where we want to turn our reflections into actionable habits. And how I'm going to have you do that is write down all the things that you see yourself doing currently, and write down all the things that you would like to include in your main goal. Then go to your pantry, go in your kitchen, and assess every single food that you have in there. Don't ignore things. Really take a hard look at it and write down in each category where those foods fit in. If you have more foods in the current health status, the current habits, and less that show up in your main goal section, then you have a lot of work to do. Now, the next part is really where we take some action, and I want you to learn from this experience. So write down your top 3 favorite dishes or most common dishes, something that you make all the time. Now, I want you to get on Google and really do some research to find a healthified version of that dish. This is really where our work is going to include us with our relationship with food compared to other diets or programs that just set out a meal plan for you. We can really spend time learning the ingredients that fuel us, learning the ingredients that we know how to work with, and finding new ways to use them. So at this point, you should go to your pantry list, highlight 1 to 3 ingredients that jump out at you that you know you can work with, or that you're interested in working with, or you realize, oh, I actually love this ingredient, but I could learn some new recipes with it. Go into Google and include those ingredient names into a recipe title. So when you go on Google, the keyword you might want to use is something like lasagna with zucchini or dairy-free lasagna, and that way you'll find a lot of different options. Now read the top 3 and see how they compare with each other, and see how they compare to the recipe you normally use. And here's the tricky part for most people. In this process, you do need to ask yourself, what is your medical or health need for excluding or including certain ingredients? So how much work do you really have to do, and were you able to determine that? So if you really need help figuring out those limitations on what foods fuel your body and also what foods make you feel worse, then it is helpful to do a food journal, but reflecting on that can really be a lot easier if you have another person. So I really encourage you to get on the Facebook group and see what other people have put together, what they've learned about balance that might help you determine some of your boundaries and your guidelines. But if you also are really struggling to figure out some of your trigger foods, then it can be really helpful to work with a nutritionist one-on-one, somebody like myself who can help you break down what your habits are, how they might be influencing your physical state, your emotional state, just how it influences your health, but also it gives you a lot of traction for learning what ingredients you should take out by not overwhelming yourself, and also what ingredients you should be including more often. I get a lot of questions from people who are thinking about being a client, or who are thinking about changing their eating habits, and they all ask me, are you going to tell me to stop eating this? And pretty much every single one of my clients, I tell them to slow down because they're really overwhelmed with the process of eliminating. And while that can be helpful if you have some severe distress in your body, a really good starting place for any healthy eating practice is to just focus on including the good ones. So, what have we learned so far in this process? Do you know what foods really fuel you? And even if it's just one or two, that can be game changing to how you feel. Even if you only feel slightly better and you still experience symptoms, you're doing the work. And doing that work really tells your body that you are trying. When you tell your body that you're trying, it will try and catch up with you. So the process of elimination can be really abrupt and really disruptive to your life, but you can take it slower if you need to. And there are definitely inflammatory foods that might not be the best for you. But really, what I want you to focus on this week is finding ingredients and recipes that you know make you feel good without a doubt. And you can include those consistently. And when you are consistent with them, you start to feel better and your body sort of gets the picture that you are trying, and it will start to say, okay, I'm starting to feel better, maybe not 100% because there are still some things that we need to address here, but we're really trying, and I'm going to accept what you're putting in and I'm going to take what I can get at this point. Eliminating foods can often feel like an exclusive experience. You might not feel totally included in your relationship with food during that time, and it's super overwhelming, especially if you try to do it in a time where you have a lot of social events or it's really tricky for you to pack your lunch because of your schedule. It's really a difficult process that involves more lifestyle factors than just eating. It takes a lot of work to put together your schedule around food. Bottom line is food does revolve around our entire world because we eat 3 times a day. We really need it to fuel our bodies. We need it to do what we want to do in life. And without eating, we really can't do those things. So if we're really overwhelmed in our relationship with food, when it's not the right time, or if it just doesn't work with our schedule, then it's not going to stick and you're not going to see the results you want. So I really want you to feel included during this week, during your process of eating healthy, and you will see that when you do that kind of work, you're going to feel so much better about your results, and you're going to feel way more accomplished, and you're going to realize that eating healthy can be very simple and can fit within your lifestyle, within your specific habits, and maybe you have a very tight schedule and you can make it work. So that's what I really want you to focus on this week, and I know that you can do it. If you're really struggling to sort of figure out how to do that, definitely talk to me personally one-on-one. We can schedule a free 30-minute call because I am an expert on figuring out how to fit that into your lifestyle. It took me years to do it for my own, and now I do it professionally for other people because it is an extremely hard process and takes a lot of trial and error, but it really doesn't need to if you have somebody who can help you reflect on what's going to serve you and what's not going to serve you. So I really pinpoint those factors, and I tell you what's going to influence you the most and how you can work around it, because it can take a long time, but it really doesn't need to. So I definitely want you to figure that out this week. It takes a little bit of back research, but you can really do it. And when you do that work now, later on, you're going to realize that healthy eating can be so much more simple than you ever thought it was.